Welcome to day 200, and we are in Isaiah 34 and 35, and we get to be in Micah at this point as well, 2, 3, and 4, 5, I think. So in Isaiah, we're talking about a message for the nations, and he talks about all the different cool things, well, not cool things, I mean horrible things he's going to be doing to the nations that have persecuted Israel and done horrible things to Israel. So let's start out with verse 2. For the Lord is enraged against the nations. So he's pretty upset with what has been happening through the years, and is going to do some terrible things. And it's not that far away. As we get into Micah, we'll see the prophecies of what's going to happen and how we think, okay, this is going to happen soon. So his fury is against all their armies. He will completely destroy them, dooming them to slaughter. Their dead will be left unburied, and the stench of rotting bodies will fill the land. The mountains will flow with their blood, 180 miles long, as high as the horse's bridle. The heavens above will melt away and disappear like a rolled up scroll. So those are all future things, when all the things we see in the skies, that will be rolled up like a scroll and just vanish. Okay, the stars will fall from the sky like withered leaves from a grapevine, or shriveled figs from a fig tree. So you got a lot of crazy things that are going to be happening, and that's all Book of Revelation type of stuff. So these things are amazing things to be reading about. It talks about Edom. The sword of the Lord is drenched with blood and covered with fat, with blood of lambs and goats, with the fat of rams prepared for sacrifice. Yes, the Lord will offer a sacrifice in the city of Basra. He will make a mighty slaughter in Edom. Even men as strong as wild oxen will die. The young men alongside the veterans. The land will be soaked with blood, and the soil enriched with fat. So we see a lot of things about different places around Israel that we're talking about. It is the day of the Lord's revenge. Verse 10, this judgment on Edom will never end. Never end. The smoke of its burning will rise forever. The land will lie deserted from generation to generation. No one will live there anymore. Okay, and at the bottom, verse 16, it says this, search the book of the Lord. So, the book of the Lord. We talk about the books. You can add this to your list, the book of the Lord, okay? And then on Isaiah 35, hope for restoration. So we always have this do this and you'll be blessed. And if you don't do this, you're going to get punished and you're going to get disciplined. But I'm going to redeem you. There's always this view of redemption through the whole book. So here we have this whole chapter about hope for restoration. So in verse 2, yes, there will be an abundance of flowers and singing and joy. It's funny that they say flowers. Okay, great, we're going to have flowers. The deserts will become as green as the mountains of Lebanon. So think about that. The deserts will become as green as the mountains of Lebanon. Okay, so think about the deserts. They haven't changed yet. So this is talking about the future. The Lord will display his glory, the splendor of our God. Verse 5, and when he comes, he will open the eyes of the blind, unplug the ears of the deaf. We keep talking about this. The blind will see, the deaf will hear, the lame will leap like a deer, and those who cannot speak will sing for joy. Okay? Parched ground will become a pool. And let's see, verse 8, and a great road will go through the once deserted land, and it will be named the highway of holiness. So we don't even have that yet. All right, evil-minded people will never travel on it. So in these times, we will be able to be in Jerusalem. We will not be hurt. We will not be oppressed. There will be no other dangers. Only the redeemed will walk on it. The redeemed, that's us. Okay? Those who have been ransomed by the Lord will return. They will enter Jerusalem singing. Okay, see, this is the time where it's just going to be an awesome thought that we can walk into Jerusalem without any fear. So, some cool things going on. So now we get into Micah. And so let's see here. In verse 12, someday, O Israel, I will gather you. I will gather the remnant who are left. I will bring you together again like a sheep in a pen. All right, so this is talking about bringing the exiles back. So May 15th, 1948, bringing the exiles back. Okay? Yes, your land will again be filled with noisy crowds. Your leader will break out and lead you out of exile and through the gates of the enemy cities back to your own land. Your king will lead you. The Lord himself will guide you. Okay, so now this is not talking about May 15th, 1948. Yes, May 15th, 1948. In one day, Israel got their land back. All right? This is talking about Jesus himself coming, defeating the people in Edom and in the city of Basra, bringing people who have fled Israel from the oppression that's going on, that's going to happen from the Antichrist. Christ will come, get the people who have fled, and bring them back into the city. So the second coming of Christ is when that's talking about. All right. So here we have Micah 3, verse 7. Then you seers will be put to shame, and fortune tellers will be disgraced, and you will cover your faces because there's no answer from God. Okay? So there we're talking about fortune tellers and your seers, your psychics, mediums. So that's a time where it'll be over for them. There won't be any more, but there are until then. All right, now we get to Micah 4. And Israel's return from exile. Go up to the future reign, the Lord's future reign. So, 1,000-year reign of Christ. In the last days, the mountain of the Lord's house will be the highest of all, the most important place on earth. It will be raised above the other hills, and people from all over the world will stream there to worship. Okay, so when Christ's second coming happens, so we have the end of the church in your lineage, your timeline, the end of the church, where the rapture happens, and the 7 years of tribulation. Christ comes at the end of the 7 years and defeats the Antichrist, the false prophet, and Satan. Throws him into the lake of fire, throws the false prophet and the Antichrist in the lake of fire, binds Satan for 1,000 years. During that 1,000 years is when Christ reigns on earth with all of us. The Lord will mediate between peoples. Oh, first of all, and again, we talk about Jerusalem being the highest mountain. So remember, all the mountains and all the buildings, nothing's going to be high as the mountain of Jerusalem. So it will be raised, we don't know how high, but all the other mountains are going to be laid waste. Verse 3, the Lord will mediate between peoples. So again, here we're going to have different peoples and different opinions, and the Lord's going to mediate. We're not talking about the very end where we have been given minds where we understand what's going on. And we're not talking about us. When we're raptured, we are given minds that we understand more and can rule with Christ. We're talking about the people in the 1,000-year reign that are born and live during that time period. So the Lord will mediate between these peoples and will settle disputes between strong nations far away. They will hammer their swords into plowshares and their spears into pruning hooks. Nation will no longer fight against nation, nor train for war anymore. Everyone will live in peace and prosperity. Everyone they're enjoying their own grapevines and fig trees. There will be nothing to fear. The Lord of Heaven's armies had made this promise. Okay, so during this 1,000-year reigns, Christ and all of us, in the book of Revelation, we'll get to this, all of us will reign on earth with Christ for 1,000 years, and there will be no more wars because Christ will be in control. All right. Then we talk about the return of the exiles in verse 7 of Micah 4. Those who are weak will survive as a remnant. Those who were exiles will become a strong nation. Then I, the Lord, will rule from Jerusalem as their king forever. Okay, so the remnant has come back, and they're still coming back. About 6-7 million people, Jews in Israel now. There's 13 million, I think, on the earth. So they're still coming back to Israel since May 15th, 1948. And that's why we think we're getting to the point where the rapture could happen at any point, and Christ is going to come back and rule as king. Verse 10, writhe and groan like a woman in labor, you people of Jerusalem. For now you must leave the city to live in the open country. You will soon be sent into exile to distant Babylon, but the Lord will rescue you there. He will redeem you from the grip of your enemies. So this part's talking about they're about to be exiled. So Jerusalem's about to be taken. Okay? So they got to be exiled so that Christ can save them. Verse 12. But they do not know the Lord's thoughts or understand his plan. These nations don't know that he is gathering them together to be beaten and trampled. So he's talking about the nations coming together to fight against Jerusalem, to fight against the Lord himself. Okay, Micah 5. This is the last chapter here. A ruler from Bethlehem. So here's, Isaiah 7, Isaiah and Micah 5. We're talking about Jesus being born. And we're talking about a ruler coming from Bethlehem. So here's two different prophecies about Bethlehem. Verse 2, But you, O Bethlehem, Ephrathah, are only a small village among all the people of Judah. Yet a ruler of Israel, whose origins are in the distant past, will come from you on my behalf. A ruler of Israel, whose origins are in the distant past. We're talking about God himself, Jesus. The people of Israel will be abandoned to their enemies until the woman in labor gives birth. So the second time we hear about the woman in labor, that's Israel. Israel's the woman who has the child, Jesus. Okay? Then at last his fellow countrymen will return from exile to their own land, and he will stand to lead his flock with the Lord's strength, and the majesty of the name of the Lord is God. Then his people will live there undisturbed, for he will be highly honored around the world. Jesus is highly honored around the world, not with everybody, but think about how many people in the world believe in Christ. And when he comes back again, we're going to have a lot of people, okay? A lot more people. Verse 5, and he will be the source of peace. All right, then we go into this, the sevens thing again. So, when the Assyrians invade our land, break through our defenses, he will appoint 7 rulers to watch over us. 8 princes will lead us. So that's another 7 thing you can add to your list. All right, and then down here in verse 8, we have the remnant left in Israel will take their place among the nations. They will be like a lion among the animals of the forest, like a strong young lion among flocks of sheep and goats, pouncing and tearing as they go, with no rescuer in sight. The people of Israel will stand up to their foes, and all their enemies will be wiped out. Verse 12, I will put an end to all witchcraft, and there will be no more fortune tellers. I will destroy all your idols and sacred pillars, so you will never again worship the work of your own hands. I will abolish your idol shrines with their Asherah poles, and destroy your pagan cities. I will pour out my vengeance on all the nations that refuse to obey me. Christ is going to take vengeance on everything that's against him. We are set apart, we are special, and we will rule with him. That's your day 200, and there is a whole lot of great prophecy coming. I'll see you tomorrow.